What's good, man? So, me and my nephew about to talk about crime in Little Rock and the value of life. So if you're just now tuning in and the video has moved forward, make sure you start from the beginning when you get some time. But recently, I was at a conference at Mosaic Church, and Chief Kenton Buckner was there, and he was talking about crime in Little Rock. And this is the second person I've asked this question to. And the question was, is the crime in Little Rock random? Is it happening by people who do or don't know each other? And I asked the same question to an EMT like 3 years ago, because for a long time, the people that I know that was getting killed in the city, shot in the city, stabbed in the city, those shootings and those stabbings and those killings, and those beatings resolved in someone getting killed. All of that stuff was by people who knew each other. So it was a cousin, a brother, a friend. It wasn't random incidents. Random incidents do happen, but we're rarely seeing that in Little Rock. We're getting a lot of the crime that's taking place by people who have a relationship, by people who are close to one another. That's who doing the crime. You see random shootings, random stabbings. That happens. Well, normally when you turn that news on, those people knew each other. They were in close relationship. That's what's happening with our crime in Little Rock. People are envious of each other. They are jealous of each other. But for some reason, regardless of the envy and the jealousy and the pride and the slick dissing and the hating, they are continuing to hang out with one another. That spirit is continuing to boil up. That anger, that frustration is continuing to boil up. Growing up, me and a lot of my friends, we argued, we fought, some of us. Me and my cousins, we fought. Some of my friends and grew up to kill each other. Some of them got, problems that's gonna last them for a lifetime because of something that the other people got them into. So that's what you're seeing. So ask yourself, instead of going on with these relationships because y'all partying and kicking it and chasing women together or chasing money together, whatever y'all doing, you need to be asking yourself, like, man, how is me and this person benefiting each other? Are we healthy or unhealthy? Because you may be getting money and this other person not. They just with you, but the whole time they watching you and something is boiling up. Or they just may hate you for something you have, or your spirit, or the type of person you are. But ultimately, though, the point of this video is to show y'all that the crime that's going on in this city is happening between the people who know each other, who spend close time together, who spend a bunch of time making live videos, making music videos. That's my dog, that's my boy. Like, that's what's going on. And we're listening and we're reasoning from a standpoint a lot of times from what we're hearing on the radio. You got all these secular artists. I'm not going to name any names, but you got so many artists that talks about drugs. They talk about guns. They talking about, knives and weapons and how they beat somebody. And so you're listening to this music. You're listening to these conversations that people are having day to day in their lives, in the hood, at their jobs and everywhere. What you would do to a person if they got out of line, or just what you would do to somebody just in general because you broke, or because you hungry, or because you grew up angry, or because you was neglected by your mom and your dad, and you feel like you out here by yourself, and so it's by all means necessary. And all of that is breeding anger, is breeding hatred, That's how people are reasoning. So when you're hearing this music and it's hip hop, and when you're in these conversations, it's just not something that you're listening to. Music is actually shaping how you think, what you believe, and how you process. Everything you see, the videos, everything you take in, you think this is how life is supposed to be. You're not really processing through that emotion. You're not really processing through anything. All you're really doing is just, sitting around saying, this is how this rapper said do it. This is how my uncle always done it. This is how he always handled problems. He always shot people. He always stole. He always murdered. He always shot. He always beat. Or even some women do those very same things. But when you're listening to music, when you're seeing these videos, when you're seeing how the world is operating around you, you pick up to that. And now you're like, man, I'm going to react the same way somebody else reacted. Instead of responding in intelligence, instead of responding in a way that's beneficial for somebody's life, in your life. As you can see, my nephew is out of school today. I won't go far into the details, but something happened within the family. And so we had to break that news to him today and let him know, what happened, which is you shouldn't have to tell a 13-year-old something like that, and he didn't take that well, but, it's something that we had to talk to him about, that he's having to really deal with and wrestle through right now. Somebody who he spent, weekends and summers and holidays with, anytime he was out of school, that's where you was, right? It's just somebody that, he looked up to, and somebody that he, looked to for guidance, as a man. And what does a man look like? Teaching him how to work, and how to hunt, and how to fish, and how to conduct himself as a man. And now that person is no longer here. I'm just going to leave it at that. This person, as of today, is no longer here. Not saying that he don't have us, because he do. But he was able to see firsthand, how jealousy or hatred or angry or bitterness works. Even if you're a good man, even if you're serving and loving your family, even if the community know you as somebody who will give their last dollar and is leading people in the right direction, some people will look at that and don't like you because of that, based on that notion alone. So I'm gonna let you talk about, whatever you want to talk about, and kind of express yourself, on some things you've learned in the last recent years about, hatred and, crime or human life, the value of it.
Oh, okay. This Bible verse,
speak up a little bit too.
This Bible verse, is, what's it called?
It's in Genesis.
Genesis chapter.
I don't know, but it's about Cain.
I am my brother's keeper.
Cain and Abel, yeah, I'm my brother's keeper, yeah.
Yeah. So today, my cousin Boyce, we was playing football, and I started to like football, but then I stopped. And this verse I will never forget is I'm my brother's keeper. And
so basically, he's referring to the story of Cain and Abel, where Cain killed Abel because of some things that was within his heart. And when he did that, God came to Cain and said, "Where is your brother?" And Cain was like, "Am I my brother's keeper?" And God was basically saying, "Man, your brother's blood is, crying out, against you. What have you done?" And beginning to talk about some things that was within his heart. And he communicated that to me today, how what Cain did to Abel, and how, in reality, he understands that he truly is his brother's keeper. He truly is, someone who's supposed to look out for the interests of someone else. And if him and someone has any grievances or any issues with one another, to handle them differently. And if they cannot handle them intelligently and differently, then he just leave that person alone. And it all boils down, though. You see, all of the crime is relational. Not all, but a lot of it is very relational. But also, we don't see the value of human life. That's what it boils down to. How do you value other people? Do you treat people, as if you would want to be treated? And a lot of times the answer is no. So a lot of people don't want to talk about the Bible. They don't want to talk about, they think it's just about rules and regulations that we should keep as people. But in reality, though, the Bible deals a lot with human worth and human value, and how to treat your neighbor, how to treat your family, how to treat your friends, how to treat your significant other based upon their worth and their value. So who are we to rob somebody, to steal from somebody, to shoot somebody, to stab somebody, to beat them to death for any reason at all, as if their life does not matter? That's how people are treating people. That's why you see murder and rape and crime and the mistreatment of people on any level. When you see the mistreatment of any people in any shape, form, or fashion, it's because the person that is violating that individual's life has no respect for human life at all. And they do not value their own life as well. So anytime someone violates someone's life through any physical harm, it's showing what they truly believe and feel about human worth and value. And they don't think much about it. That's all that's saying. So the next time that, you want to hurt somebody, or treat them in any kind of way that may not be good for them as individuals or you, think to yourself, am I really valuing this human life? Do I really care about this person? Because that's what's going on. In all the crime you see, in all of the things you see on TV, and you're wondering, where is God? Why did God let this happen or allow this to happen? It's really not God. We have free will. It's us as people not valuing other people's lives. That's all it is. So keep that in your mind. If you don't remember nothing else from this video, remember this. The crime you see is relational. Most of the crime in our city is happening between people who know each other, who are close, who have a relationship or have had a relationship. And that crime is taking place because they don't value other people's lives. That's the whole thing. You cannot put worth on a human life. You should be treating people the way you want to be treated. Would you harm yourself? Would you hurt yourself? Before you commit any crime, you should ask yourself, is this something that I would do to myself? Is this something that I would want somebody to do to my mama, my brother, my sister, my uncle, my cousin, my daddy? When you see somebody murder somebody or harm somebody, and you see it on the news, the first thing people say is what? Free so-and-so, free my dog. Well, did you know your dog just did this to somebody? But you hollering about free him. You don't know what this other person did to him or if they did anything. But that's not even the point. The point is somebody just committed a crime against somebody that they probably knew, and that person is no longer here, or that person is in ICU, or that person is suffering some way. And all you can say is free that person. That don't make sense to me. You're basically agreeing with the evil somebody done. So let's flip this. What if that person murdered somebody in your family, or somebody you know, or somebody you love? You're not going to be saying free that person. You're going to be saying, let me get at this person.
You'll be disappointed.
You'll be disappointed. Did the police do something about it? What is the judge going to do about it? That's going to be your response. You're going to be looking at it through another lens. You're not going to be looking at it like, that's right, he got down on them. You're going to be crying out beyond your intellect. You're going to be crying out beyond your reasoning. You're going to be crying out beyond your love for this person. It's beyond that. You're going to be crying out from your soul, from the depths of your soul, because inwardly you understand. You can feel a life has been taken. Even if you cannot put it in words, when people die, it's bigger than the fact that you love them. Something inwardly, your soul is crying out. Your spirit is like, man, a life is gone. That's what's taking place when somebody dies. Like, you feel that pain and that pressure. And you understand something's not right about transgressing against a life, about violating a life, even if they don't die. When you hear about something that happened to somebody that's close to you and you love them, immediately something inside of you says, this is not right, and I cannot make sense of it. So if you know that something's not right and you cannot make sense of it, how do you think other people feel when your family or when you commit crimes against people? How do you think they feel the same way? Something's not right. So if we're standing on opposite sides, feeling the same way when something has happened to someone close that we love, not even we love, when we hear, not even people that we have to love, when you hear things that has happened in life, in your community, in your neighborhood, something deep inside of you says the same thing. Like, dang, what happened in that family? What happened in that house? What happened in that? You can't make sense of it. Because inwardly, you know there's something, a life beyond this, a life, the value of a person, a soul, a spirit, where more than flesh has been violated. And that person is no longer here. So why don't we respond the same way when it's somebody we love who done the crime? We got to get turned up and get hyped. Yeah, my boy laid him down. Let me take you a step further. How you think God feels about it? The Bible says we're made in his image. So just imagine when a soul, when a life gets taken. Because something we've done, we caused it. When someone gets hurt, there's some people that need to apologize to some people right now. Some family, some friends, some people. You need to apologize to whoever you done hurt. You. Because you've hurt some people, man. You violated a life, bro. Well, how do you think God feels? He feels the same way when a life gets violated, you know. And justice has to be served. You know, you have to have love and justice at the same time. That's another conversation. But how do you be just, do what's right, and be loving at the same time? Because you have to be that. So that's it. The crimes that are taking place in and around our cities and other states are relational, which simply means these crimes are happening through people who know each other, who is tight or was tight, or know each other through a friend of a family, and this person got 100,000 in his house, or they have something, or they have something that I want, so I'm gonna violate their life. Crimes are not really taking place randomly by people who don't know each other, though that does happen. A lot of the crime that's taking place is just people who know each other. So what kind of relationships do you have with the people around you? What's in y'all's heart? How are you dealing with the envy and the jealousy that's taking place? And the last part we talked about was the value of human life. And let me say this, human life has value because God has given human life value and said you, and a purpose, and says you do not violate this human life. You do not touch these people. We're talking about murder. We're talking about just straight doing raunchy stuff. If somebody's trying to violate your life and you ain't done nothing to them, that's a whole another subject for another day, another week, another year. We're talking about just ignorant, plain old crimes. This is what we're talking about. And the value of human life. God has placed worth and value on the soul. Enough worth. God has placed so much worth on people that he died for those who would die.
For him.
That they could live in eternity with him. Not all the stuff that heaven has and what heaven has to offer. Because heaven is nothing without God if God isn't there.
Amen.
So, God died. That's how much you're worthy for. That's how much you're worth. Is that God died for people like you and me. So be mindful of your relationships and how you're treating people. If you have to treat people bad, just go home. Just go home. Anyway, we logging out. Get at us, man. You Are Not Abandoned Ministries. You can contact me to chop it up more on this subject if you would like to. You got anything you want to add?
Not really.
Alright, we out, man.